Welcome to the Underground, the Steel City Underground, the black and gold standard for Pittsburgh Steelers coverage. Now, here's your host, Joe Kuzma and Brian E. Roach.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to another edition of the Steel City Underground podcast. I am the J to the O to the E, a Joe Kuzma here with the B to the E to something else, a Brian E. Roach that is. Brian, hey man, you had the headphones underneath the stocking cap just a second ago. You moved it. He knew he was going to stretch it out. How you doing, my friend? I like the tassels, man. You look like warrior-like, almost like one of the, I don't want to say a Viking because they're from Minnesota and out of the playoffs, but yeah.
I look like Heidi.
Oh, Heidi ho! Too much banner. We must get to pregame. We must talk about the Cleveland Browns because although
hat is way too hot,
yeah, you know what, dude? Like sometimes people don't see what all goes on in these productions and stuff. I know you got some really hot lights above your head there. Yeah, maybe the heat going, and I got the same thing going here, and everywhere. And when I had that Christmas sweater on a couple weeks ago, whoo, buddy, I was sweating underneath. That's why I had a ball cap on. I couldn't do the stocking. I couldn't do the thing with the little beanie on top. I'd be a sweating mess. Surprised I wasn't like drenching through. It wasn't even black and yellow or black and gold. I'm sorry, correction. You know, the song, Wiz Khalifa popularized that. I know it's blasphemy to many of the Steelers Nation out there, but, you know, it is what it is. It's still cool. It's catchy. Black and yellow. I tried to do a little rap before this. I just need to quit before I'm ahead.
Yeah.
Cleveland Browns. Cleveland rocks. No, it doesn't. Cleveland sucks. No. You know, if I got to hear any more crying, let me tell you a story. I don't know if I told this story. Christmas Day, my uncle, God bless him, like a second father to me, near and dear to my heart, my godfather. Okay? Legitimately here. My godfather.
Okay. I'm with you.
Everybody, we're all dispersed. We're all displaced. We're all quarantined, locked down, and everything else. So I'm placing the phone calls, Brian. And I think I may have mentioned he went straight to the Steelers. He's a diehard Cleveland Browns fan all his life. He's the guy who talks about how they won all these 8 titles, while other men were off at war and dying and not playing football, and they played against like teams that had to combine like the Steagles or in a league that was defunct and may as well have won 4 XFL titles. So no taking it away from Jim Brown, one of the greats. I hear about that, but there hasn't been anybody in between and since. And, the Steelers this was before they play the Colts, and they're in the middle of this 3-game losing skid, of which I just had to deal with the disaster that was Cincinnati being there. The third game and being there in person, and it could have been much worse if there were actually Bengals fans in attendance, but there weren't, so it was okay. I tucked the tail and just gently walked to the car, didn't say anything to the few that were. My uncle calls, doesn't want to talk about the Buckeyes like we talk about the Buckeyes. Ohio State going to be in the title game, or do they even deserve? Oh, he's sporting, he's repping right there. This is all I rep right here. See that 6 rings, number 7 right there, baby. I give out the plastic for the COVID. Yeah, I think so.
There you go.
So, anyways,
I got the silver.
I'm mentioning the COVID a lot. There's going to be some storylines and stuff about that. So,
yeah,
we're a little loopy right now. We've been stressed out on both ends here, and you're going to catch some rare air from myself and Mr. E. Roach over there. So, that's almost like Mr. Enigma, the Riddler.
I am definitely not the Riddler.
Yeah, I don't think you can't riddle me this, can you? So I'll riddle you what he wanted to talk about. Not the Browns, not the Buckeyes. He wanted to talk about the Steelers and their losing streak. And when I start to talk about how the Steelers are playing a lot of games in a short span in the NFL, basically bent them over backwards and did the dirty business. All I heard was every team has to deal with injuries. You can't use that as an excuse. Pretty much, I hung up on him. I called him back because that's the Christmas spirit, of course, but I hung up on him. What a jerk. Browns fan that he is, usually take more pleasure in the Steelers losing than whatever his team's doing. Well, it has. Karma would have it. They lose to the Jets that weekend. I wanted to hear the excuses. I had these babies on, cranked up all the way to 10. And, no wide receivers, missing offensive linemen. I heard that the, butt whooping that the Steelers put on the Browns, 38-7 earlier in the year. No Nick Chubb, no Wyatt Teller. I heard it again last week. 2-point victory. I heard it from people on this very own podcast. I accidentally, if the gentleman's still listening, I'm sorry. I really thought by your response. It's tough in a digital age when you're just reading things in text with no emotion or context to it. And I thought, this guy's a Browns fan trying to give me the old needling me like the caged animal.
Yeah.
And we titled the podcast that they played the Steelers backups. And I heard Cleveland had some players out. I did hear about that. How about that, And I heard about that with the first game, and they have a 2-point victory, and I just wanted to put out there, heading into this Sunday, Coach Stefanski out with the COVID thing. Who else is out? Denzel Ward, who was out in the first game. Why don't we trade that? Joe Hayden was out, too. Both the cornerback ones for these teams were out on the COVID list and will be out for this game. Brian, you think that's balanced and fair, even? I think it's even. That's an even trade, okay. If you're going to try and make things on a level playing field here.
Sure. I'll go with that. Yeah, why not?
I don't think Ward's better than, Juju Smith-Schuster doesn't think Denzel Ward is too much of anything. He gets all the chicks. I heard he gets all the chicks. He's got a cool name, and he gets all the chicks. Yeah, was that what it was? He wears a that was Brooke Pryor from ESPN. Things went off the rails at the end of Juju's Zoom today. Off the rails. Asked about. I love it. You're doing the Paul Schaefer, and I love it, and I love doing it back.
Off the rails.
Off the rails. Asked about what makes Denzel Ward good. Juju said, "I think he's good because his name is really cool. He wears number 21. I think he's light-skinned, so he probably gets a lot of girls." And I'm like, whoa, the fire emojis are just coming out everywhere. So that's Denzel Ward. Better than Joe Hayden? I don't know. Joe's a great name. I think it's pretty cool. His number 23, if it was a different sport, that's the GOAT, Michael Jordan. Oh, that pains me to say that, being a Cavs fan. Craig Elo, at least you're famous for some reason. Anyways, posterized by Jordan. God, that was so painful back in the day when I was in my youth. I don't get a lot of girls, so I guess Denzel Ward's cooler. Maybe Joe Hayden, he's younger than me, but he's in his 30s now. He's probably got family and everything else, so he's not worried about getting all the girls. But I love that Juju said that. But the Browns fans were like, well, the Browns had players that were out in this game too. Who? B.J. Goodson, you were without him already, and you got some other guys, Sione Taki. He was supposed to be the starter. It doesn't count. Yeah, it doesn't count. Carl Joseph comes in for Andrew Sendeo, and it's like, there's another guy you signed. These are all guys that are like mix and match compatible starters. We're not talking about like a guy that's here and a guy that's there. And, the first matchup, Brian, they had Odell Beckham Jr., 2 catches, 25 yards. And the Steelers were at full strength there. Here you're not going to see, you didn't see Nick Chubb, you didn't see Wyatt Teller there. Well, Joel Bitonio, who's been with this team through misery and back, and he's not going to get to play in his first ever playoff game due to the COVID list thing too as well. And I would say at guard, I was asking the professor this too, we're thinking Bitonio's better than Teller. So how's that going to fare any better for the Cleveland Browns coming to Heinz Field Sunday? And I'm not done yet, but I'll let you interject here. Actually, that's a good spot. Bitonio versus Teller. They had both guys last week, and we said outside of the 47-yard run, the Browns combined Hunt and Chubb, one of the top rushing teams, stopped by the Steelers, minus Cam Hayward, minus TJ Watt. Oh, yeah, not Bud Dupree either. He's been on the shelf for a while. So is Devin Bush. So is his backup, Robert Spillane, who may be back now for this game. So you got Avery Williamson, who's been around for maybe a month. You got Alex Highsmith splitting time with a guy who came off the practice squad, and Jaron Elliott. I had to look up some of these names and numbers. I didn't know who was on the field. And for some reason, I don't know the Browns fans, they were walking around like this, the chest out on Monday. You're getting here to the end of the week, and I don't think they could walk like that anymore.
Well, if you walk like this, And eventually, you start to get a weird little gait, and your shoulders hurt, and you got to stop. Otherwise, you get a crick in your neck or something. But look, you and I talked about this last time around. I'm not going to be mad at the Browns fans for being happy. They're happy they're in the playoffs. It's the first time in most of their lifetimes that they've been in the playoffs. So I'm not going to be mad at them. I know I don't have to deal with them. See, this is the same thing. If it was the Philly fans, I'd have to deal with them, and then I'd be like, "Can you just shut up?" I don't have to deal with them. You have to deal with them because you're in Ohio.
I couldn't even park my car in the lot and walk over to my door without having someone comment. And all my clothes, like yours, practically, except for today for some odd reason, are Steelers stuff. So my coat's Steelers, and the guy has to make some comment about the Steelers. And this was before the game was even played, and it's just like, yeah, well, best of luck.
Well, let me tell you, my boss. My boss. He's from the Great Northwest, so this makes no sense, right? But originally, he's from Pittsburgh area, right? First met him, he tells me he's a Steelers fan.
Oh,
I'm a Steelers fan. Guess what? Now he's a Browns fan. Yeah. So he's been giving me crap all week. What about them Browns? I told you the Browns. And what do you say to your boss? You can't go, shut the blankety blank up, you idiot. Right?
No, you just kick him and go. Well, you probably didn't see him in person.
I can't kick him because, I don't see him in person. Everything is virtual now.
You send him a surprise in a box.
I'm just looking for it. Look, I've said this before. I'll say it again. This is not the same Browns team. They're a very good team. We shouldn't be overconfident. Yes, the Steelers should be a better team, and yes, the Steelers should win this game. But anything can happen. So, I want them to win. I expect them to win. I hope they win, because if they don't win, I have to hear about it. Just like you'll have to hear about it way more, but I'll have to hear about it all workday long. And then when I want to be able to just send him a meme that has a crying Browns fan or something. I need a crying Browns fan.
You may get some of those.
Can we just dress up the crying Bengals lady as a crying Browns lady and just use her? Hey, I know she does Pittsburgh Dad all the time, because he got her to come on his show. We'll have to talk to Pittsburgh Dad and go, look, can you get us the crying Bengals lady? We just want to dress her up in a Browns outfit. Have her be the crying Browns lady if they lose.
Yeah, no. You're well, it's still orange. She still has an orange hat. It's yeah. So she just needs the poop color to go with it.
Yeah, she just needs the poop color,
yeah. Man, let me tell you, I was going through some statistics, and I think it's something like Ben Roethlisberger, who did not play last week either. That's the thing. Right. They were walking around, again, like this. The last two games they won in Cleveland against Mason Rudolph, and he torched your secondary, which isn't going to look any better. Now you're going to flip Sendeo with Ronnie Harrison on the COVID list. And by all means, I want to play the Browns at full strength with our guys and shut them up. Just smack them right in the jaw, shut them up, and knock them out of the playoffs. Yeah, I don't want any excuses. And that was the thing I hung up on him about. How many excuses do you think my uncle will have now? If. It's the same thing, like I was just saying. It's the same thing like some of the people creeping in the comments section here were talking about with, Mason Rudolph is the quarterback there. Now, that's a change. There's some people who probably didn't even watch the game, don't even understand that he actually had a good game.
Yes.
It's beyond their comprehension.
Let me say this the same way that I said it last week. He played very well.
That's very good, Brian. I know that took a lot. What is it? Recognition is the first step in this path of recovery. You're on the Rudolph recovery program.
I'm not. You're still not a franchise quarterback, and he's still not the future. He played well.
So, man, I am salty. I got so many things to say.
Did you know what today is?
January 7th?
It's National Bobblehead Day.
Oh, I was going to say, I think it's Hristos, whatever.
It's just me taunting Missy Matthews, who will not give me her damn bobblehead. I'm taunting you, Missy Matthews.
Missy's not watching.
I know, but I want her to be watching.
Yeah, filthy animal. It's not going. No. So, hold on. I don't want to butcher this. Let's see if I got that. I can't even say it. But it's Serbian. Well, it's Orthodox Christmas. I have a lot of Serbian Orthodox friends too. So Merry Christmas, and actually even of within family, grandma on the wife's side, Romanian Orthodox, as is she. So the decorations stay up for that excuse at least. But
later
that's what
on, when we're off air, I don't want to talk about it on air. You need to explain this to me, because why is their Christmas different than everybody else's Christmas? Don't tell me now. I don't want to know.
I don't know. Why does Canada have a Boxing Day? I saw some comment about Canada, and I wasn't making fun of Canada. I think the person who was saying I was making fun of Canada realized I wasn't making fun of Canada and then deleted the comment complaining that I was making fun of Canada. I wasn't. I was making fun of the Canadian Football League.
Sorry, A.
And oh, jeez. But Brian is, so go ahead. Go after him.
Sorry.
Hey, I got friends up there too. Some good friends.
I love Canada. It's beautiful, beautiful, beautiful country. I love it.
I do. And if you've ever been to Toronto, like nothing like New York City, there's trash bags everywhere. I don't know where they put their trash. It's such a clean place.
Yeah.
I
agree. I love Canada.
New York, rats the size of my head. So we're way off the rails now. Forget about Banner to start. Banner in between. Banner. Bruce Banner. By the way, why is the Chinese New Year a different day too?
Because they don't like us.
I think it's a different calendar, my friend. I just think that's the way it works. So, anyways, getting back on track, Ben Roethlisberger at home against the Cleveland Browns, regular season,
$150 million to 1.
Never lost. 13-0.
There you go. 13-0.
13-0. There has been games. Oh, those, I think, does that count as the starts? No, I think that's all of them that he played. I think that includes the Landry Jones playing 3 snaps, and then he comes in as the backup and lays the smackdown on him. If you remember that. That was the big, that was the, Ben set all the records as a backup quarterback for the Steelers too. Ridiculous. On the road, he has only lost twice, with the one tie a couple years ago when they opened the season. That is just a tremendous amount of abuse in the 27 games I'm showing here. Somebody's going to say something else is wrong. I got this from Pro Football Reference. There are 24 wins, 2 losses, 1 tie is what I'm showing here. So 27 games. Yeah, that adds up. So he is 24, 2-1 against Cleveland Browns lifetime. It took Baker Mayfield till this year to become the winningest quarterback in his own home stadium because Ben has owned the record there. He had a better record than Baker. And all these people on the Baker bandwagon right now, it's just, we're going to see. We're going to definitely see what happens this upcoming weekend. But I still wasn't done with my starters JV backup rant. We had gotten the snap numbers, the snap totals, because we had done the post game following the game, so they don't have those immediately available. And there's guys that were coming in like James Pierre. You had Isaiah Buggs and Carlos Davis fighting each other on the sideline for playing time, and really the only guys Minka played full participation, full game. Sean Davis, who hadn't sniffed the field at all, was out there. Even so, I think Mason had about maybe 24 snaps. He got a little bit of playing time, mostly handoffs, victory formation type stuff in a handful of games. Deion Kane had 3 or 4 snaps as a wide receiver. He got like a quarter or so of playing time. Anthony Mcfarland is a guy that was inactive a lot. We saw him here or there. He got some decent playing time. They actually rotated the backs pretty well and got Connor, I think, into a decent groove. If you want to go a little further, Kevin Dotson is a rookie who was not the starting left guard for the Pittsburgh Steelers. Chuks Okorafor could have been co-starter. Zach Banner was named the starter and then injured in week 1. We could do this all day. Devin Bush, like I said, his backup. You had Joe Hayden out. You had Cam Hayward out. You had T.J. Watt out. You had Terrell Edmonds out. You had Big Ben out. You had Eric Ebron out. Those guys, I didn't even name Chris Boswell, all starters. 8-9 guys. 8-9 guys. But Dupree isn't part of that. That would be like 11 if you add Dupree and Bush or Spillane or however mixture you want of that.
Yep.
My point is, even the legitimate 7 guys who will have an opportunity to come back and play in this game. And I don't think I counted. Let me see. We got Hayward. We got Watt. We got, who else is sitting? Ben. Who's my fourth guy that sat as part of just
TJ.
sitting?
Oh, no, you said TJ.
I said TJ.
Cam, Ben,
TJ.
Pouncey.
Marquise Pouncey. Backup center, also played last Sunday. There's your 4 legit. 5, Terrell Edmonds. Now, 6 could be Robert Spillane coming in if he ends up having the full boat of time. Eric Ebron is 7. There's 7 guys. There's only 22 on both sides of you get 11 on each side. That's a third of the team that did not play. And then I didn't even put Joe Hayden in there because he's not going to play Sunday. He's still on the COVID deal. So there's yet another guy. There's your 8th. Chris Boswell is 9. That's not part of the 22. That's part of your special teamers. But there's another guy that's out. Are you starting to get the feeling the Steelers had their varsity team or didn't have it? They gave Terry flack on this for the WTF show too. I'm just trying to point out that missing B.J. Goodson, come on, guys. It's not on the same level. Okay, you put Goodson there with Robert Spillane. That's the same level. Vince Williams just came off the COVID list and said, he couldn't breathe, and he was playing 100% of snaps, and he didn't touch anything like that in this game either. Playing time. I got it here. On the offensive side of the ball. Good Lord, Ray McLeod played 18% of the snaps, as did Kevin Rader, a backup tight end, my boy from Youngstown State. He got 12 snaps out of the 67 on offense, 18% of the time. He didn't play offense in the other 16 games. He was on and off the practice squad. Get out of town with this stuff. Seriously. It drives me absolutely batty. Okay, Juju played a little bit there. Deontay Johnson, those guys were playing a little bit. Vance McDonald played quite a bit too. Anthony McFarland got like a high here too with 19% of snaps. Let's go over the defense. Highsmith played almost the entire game. Sands 2 snaps. I said Minka already did. Avery Williamson, he's been up there since the other injuries ravaged these inside linebackers. Cam Sutton played an obscene amount of snaps, 87%. Tuitt did, 84. Alu, 82. Sean Davis, 69%. Steve Nelson, 69%.
Nice.
Chris Wormley, overwhelmingly more snaps in this game, as did Ola Adeneye, 41 and 40 than any other game the combined the rest of the season. These are your guys, your heavy hitters on the defensive side of the ball. Jaron Elliott, same thing, 32 snaps, 52% over half of the game. Mike Hilton sat 23 snaps, 37%. You got James Pierre in there for a quarter, Justin Lane about a quarter, Henry Mondale, by far, 21%, another defensive lineman. Isaiah Buggs, 15%. Carlos Davis, 11%. Jordan Dangerfield came in for a play. So, Jordan Dangerfield. There you go. You know what? How long we've been talking? I forgot to start the watch. No respect
at all.
I forgot to start the watch, Brian.
That's not my fault.
To try and stay within an acceptable amount of time. This is part of the preview of the game. This isn't just a rant. This is just to illustrate that almost everybody I just named is going to either just be playing special teams snaps or they're going to be watching from the sideline as all the other guys come in and that were sitting and got some rest against the Browns team that had to play their guys, had to play for something, and now have to travel on the road to a building, and I'm going to get into this too, no fans. They are so lucky the state of Pennsylvania is not allowing many more than friends and family. It's 2,500. It makes no sense. They just had almost 12,000 in Cleveland for the game. It's 2 hours away. Buffalo's going to have fans. Rivers Casino next door. I think indoor capacity, they're allowed 50%. We're going to find this. Somebody posted this. I don't know if this was Kevin Adams or on Twitter or Mike Drakulik, Drax, who used to contribute here. But I don't know what the building code is. Rivers Casino, Pittsburgh. I'm typing it out. You can hear me. Capacity.
I can.
1,000 employees back to work. That doesn't help. It doesn't tell me. But let me tell you, I think 2,900 slots, 100-plus table games, 30-table poker room, restaurants, 2,500 at the open-air facility that you normally hold 66, I think it is, or 68 now with the expansion.
Something like that, yeah.
And space people out. You could probably get 15 in there comfortably and safely, and they're just not allowing it, and it's such a detriment to the Steelers. But next door, the casino probably have the same amount of people indoors in that setting, gambling their life away or whatever, their savings. I don't know. I'm not the big gambler.
I'm gambling my life away.
Brian, I know, I understand the pandemic stuff and all this and that. If the right precautions are, they had fans there earlier in the season. There's other stadiums, there's other places. I understand people were talking about different situations or different, LA or whatever be the case, but there's not much of a difference geographic wise or the people or everything else between Buffalo and Cleveland and Pittsburgh and what these places have been dealing with amidst all of this stuff. I don't know I don't know what else to say. It's just I'm mad because I can't go. Obviously, I'd be there. But I think not having fans and some sort of home field advantage, first time in forever, that the home field wasn't the advantage percentage-wise, wasn't it? Somebody just put that out, too.
Yeah.
Because there's no noise, and that's the reason they were saying people are calling out plays, too, because you could hear them calling out the plays, and you could hear them talking back and calling out your plays, because there's no noise in the stadium. It's ridiculous. So, I don't know. That's my thought on that. I'm tying that up until we get into some other things here.
Okay. I got no arguments with you. Look, there's nothing. If you've not been to Heinz Field with, whether it's playoff game or not, just with a boatload of fans, then you've missed out because that place is just crazy. Yes, I know some other stadiums get loud, but there's a difference. There just is. And Renegade is not the same. Renegade's not the same with no fans in the stands.
I was there for the game they did play against. What was there, like 3 games they allowed fans? I was lucky to be at one of them. I know one was the Eagles, the other one was the Browns, and I think the other was the Bengals, and then they sealed it up because they kept moving the Ravens game. They would have had fans there Thanksgiving night, and it didn't happen. And I'm fortunate enough to be there when, like I said, I'm a little bit of Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson laying the smackdown. Get the eyebrow going too, and on those Cleveland Browns, there's we call them the clowns sometimes. If you're still listening and you're from Cleveland, I don't want to hear it. But XM Radio and some of these talking heads on NFL Network and stuff, and they're like, "Well, the Steelers lost to the Bengals a couple weeks ago." Are you totally overlooking the fact that the Browns lost to the Jets, and the Jets weren't at full strength either? Far from it. I mean, geez. They got a coach they just fired. They were a 1-win team. So it's any given Sunday. I get that. So let's drill down to this. How much of a chance do the Cleveland Browns have? Now, you're saying in the first game, Minkah Fitzpatrick, there was a pick 6, and that immediately set the tone. And who's to say something like that won't happen? The amount of pressure it's going to – Baker Mayfield sacked 4 times last Sunday. Not by the Defensive Player of the Year, not by another Pro Bowl – maybe all-pro level player like Cam Hayward that are back in action and with a week's rest. I got to keep reiterating that.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Robert Spillane hits like a Mack truck. If he's good to go and not on some sort of pitch count, with him and Vince Williams in there and rotating with Avery Williamson, look out. That front 7, Alex Highsmith was getting in there, and you're without Bitonio. Hello? What's the offense going to do? It's not like you did anything when you had Odell Beckham. I think Carter L. Hodge is on the shelf here, too.
Yeah.
Do you think
he's on?
Yeah. Rashard Higgins or Donovan Peoples-Jones going to step up that big? Because if this run game gets shut down for the Browns, and I think it will, Baker's going to be running for his life, and that's to the tune. I didn't count him in. I was only counting the running backs when I said 100 yards earlier. So, those weren't designed plays that he got 44 yards. Last Sunday. And
to be honest, he's not going to break out like that in this game. It's a difference between having Cam Hayward there and not.
Well, it's a difference of having Terrell Edmonds, too, instead of Sean Davis. That's going to make a difference. Yeah. It's a difference of having Mike Hilton play more snaps. This really isn't like part 2 back-to-back. You're going to see the same thing. If I'm the Browns, I am legit concerned. And not only that, you don't have your head coach who's also your offensive play caller. Although I think some people might not mind that on the Steelers side, but I don't know who was calling play. I don't know who was calling plays last Sunday. We still can't figure that out. Brian, am I seeing something differently? Am I homered out of my mind? I told you this is going to be a special show with extra vigor than I usually have.
The answer to the first question you asked me, are you homered out of your mind? Yes, but that's okay. We don't make any bones about that here, right? We're both homered out of our minds. So that's okay.
I'm finding some other Steelers podcasts out there. Not that you should look anywhere else. Always listen here first. Yeah. There's other people stealing are like not least prepared and also homers and being biased.
They better not be stealing my grown ass man.
No, not yet.
I've seen people stole it. People have stolen it. The players are using it, and it's pissing me off.
They're allowed. Because without them, we don't get to do this.
But still, I want to know that that's how you got it. I mean, I know grown ass man is not a big thing, but damn it, until I started saying it, we weren't hearing it. So there you go.
We come up with everything. Anything.
Absolutely.
Yinzer, nobody was
cool
saying.
Beans. I invented the phrase cool beans.
Yeah,
because I'm that old.
You'll be kind of, okay. What was your second thing? Yeah.
My second thing here is, this is absolutely a game the Steelers should dominate in. They're missing starting players on their offensive line. The Browns are because of COVID. They don't have their full regiment. Baker should be running for his life. They shouldn't be able to run the ball the same way. But I will say this the way I've been saying it for 2 years. This is not the 0-16 Browns. They're a good team. Do I think that they are under more pressure than us? They are a good team. I'm sorry. They are.
And they're in the playoffs.
They're a 10-win team. They're a good team.
I'm going to tell you, they won't be a 10-win team next year.
I don't think you're wrong.
I think I pegged them at 9-7 at the beginning of the season, didn't I? Or did I say 8-8 plus 1? 9-7, or did I say 9-7 plus 1 and then plus 1? I had them there.
And I gave them more credit.
Well, that's because of the schedule.
I know.
That's the reason everybody says the Steelers. Oh, the Steelers suck. They shouldn't have got to 11 wins with that schedule. And it's like, yeah, okay. Well, what about Baltimore skating into the playoffs and the Browns sneaking in the back door? Come on now. Same schedule.
My point being, this is not a pushover game. Yes, the Steelers should win. I think they should win easily, quite frankly. But it's not a pushover game. So don't be surprised if it's not as easy as we'd like it to be. But then again, when is it ever?
Well, injury reports. Injury reports. It doesn't get any better for Cleveland. So all of those things we just said, let's throw some more out the window. We forgot Olivier Vernon is out for the season. Out. Unfortunate injury. What was it? Was it Achilles? Achilles, I think.
Achilles tendon. Yep, out.
All right. Let's talk offensive line. Jack Conklin, right tackle. Knee injury, limited practice Wednesday and Thursday. J.C. Treader, starting center with a knee, limited Wednesday, Thursday. You already got Joel Bitonio out. Jeez, oh man. Wyatt Teller, the other offensive guard besides Bitonio, ankle, limited practice. The only guy that's not on the practice report or already listed out is the rookie, Jedrick Wills. Is that his name? At the left tackle position. They got a backup tackle that's he's fully practiced, but he was listed here for injury. Jarvis Landry is dealing with the hip, but full practice for 2 days. Donovan Peoples-Jones is in concussion protocol, has not practiced the last 2 days, and if he doesn't come out and practice, whatever practice looks like, I guess, for them at this point with the facilities, he may be out. So now you're down to just, Landry and Higgins.
Fred. Guy named Fred. They just pulled him off of the street.
Oh,
Fred.
That's the guy that played in the Jets game that they were complaining about. If they had a Fred, they have a Marvin.
They do.
They have Marvin.
And you know what's even more fun? He's not a Martian.
There's Marvin Hall and Alexander Hollins are the other guys that are remaining there. Should they not? Can you even add anybody to this roster at this point? I don't think you can. You can bring somebody up maybe if they have any bodies on the practice squad. Any other? Sheldon Richardson with the neck injury, limited practice. If Sheldon Richardson can't go either,
oh man,
then you're taking their front four out on that defense too. Your Myles Garrett's on here with a shoulder but full practice, so you'd be missing Vernon and Richardson. They still would have Larry Ogunjobi. I've always given them credit for the guys on the defensive line. I just don't think the linebackers are weak. I think the secondary, especially without Denzel Ward, is weak. I don't care for their safeties. I don't care for their other corners. It doesn't matter if Greedy Williams would have been there or not. I think everybody who wanted them here, including some of us, and I may have been guilty as even mentioning him as a target, may have dodged a bullet with that one as well. The Steelers injury report had Chris Boswell returning to full strength, as did Steven Nelson, who showed up limited with a knee on Wednesday. Terrell Edmonds has been a full participant all week. Tyson Alualu had an ankle, did not practice on Wednesday, and Vince Williams the same with the quadriceps, both full participants on Thursday, but now Juju showed up with a knee and did not practice. Isaiah Buggs, who will probably be inactive anyways, illness, did not practice, probably kept them away from the team. Whatever the Steelers are doing, I think the Steelers, you talk about standard as a standard. I know they asked Mike Tomlin about this, and you talk about the few limited instances they had where somebody's tested positive and this hasn't spread through the organization. That's a hats off. I don't know what they came up with internally, and if they just got people like living like the bubble boy on Seinfeld, but it's working, and definitely hats off to everything you guys are doing. So
the bubble boy,
he's the bubble boy. He lives in a bubble.
Bubble boy.
So let's talk about the elephant in the room. We talked about
Not nice.
Steeler. What's wrong with the elephant?
It's fat shaming. That's not nice.
I didn't fat shame anyone. I wasn't talking about you. You're far from
okay.
that.
Well, I'm sorry. Thank you. Okay, never mind.
There's nobody else in the room. At least
point.
I'm going to be the elephant in the room. I got to stop everybody, these Christmas cookies and stuff that are still languishing. I think we still have Halloween candy sitting around here. Talking about the Cleveland offense versus the Steelers defense, we just think this is an overwhelming advantage, even talking about how banged up this line is against fresh horses up front. But we flipped the sides of the ball, and you got to talk about who's under center or in shotgun, whatever it might be. I got to talk about Josh Dobbs for a second.
Okay, let's talk about it.
How many? Okay, a wrinkle in the offense. Okay, 9. We figured it out. It was 9 snaps, 7 actual plays, 2 pass attempts, 2 runs. One, I believe, maybe by design, and the other one was busted play. So the one by design was where I think Rudolph got sacked. They brought him in, let him bootleg around, and he recouped everything for the field goal attempt. Right. The other one, I think, was Josh not being able to find. He had the pass attempt out of bounds, and then that was it. And then he had the RPO. That was a nice play. But the other 5 plays, grand total of 2 yards, 2 jet sweeps that were terrible, pitch plays that went 2-3 yards. I think 2 of them, 1 to maybe Juju, 1 to Vance McDonald, whatever that be the case. Okay, it's a wrinkle in the offense, but do you want to take Big Ben off the field? That's number one. Did you want to take Rudolph off the field? We had already said that in the postgame that wasn't like a favorite thing of ours to do. But the second thing is, Brian, I said 7, 8, 9 guys making roster moves, bringing guys off of IR like Matt Filer, like Robert Spillane, potentially. They're practicing this week in full. Eric Ebron coming off the COVID list. Transaction-wise, and seeing that Dobbs had been inactive for the other 15 games, I almost said 16. We're not there yet. 17 weeks. He's usually inactive. A couple of the other guys, I know Jerry Dulac came out and said, well, this is how you do this. You just sit Buggs and Carlos Davis. Well, either one of those guys is usually on the inactives too. You just had Kevin Rader show that he could play special teams and he's a capable blocker. And he's usually part of the inactives as part of, if he's part of the call-ups from the roster and stuff like that. They just signed Trevor Williams to the practice squad too, which is an interesting name as well. Cassius Marsh has been playing, a guy that's usually maybe on the practice squad. You see where I'm getting at? You got to have 6 guys on the inactives list. Who are you bringing off? Who goes on that list, and who are you bringing off to allow Josh Dobbs to have a helmet, to be QB3, to maybe run some gimmick plays that don't get you a whole lot of yardage?
Not a lot. Look, I don't, man. I think I stated pretty clearly my preference that that was great. It makes people think, and now it should never be used again.
What if he throws a pick, loses a ball, loose-handed, scrambling, somebody catches him from behind? I mean, could you live with yourself if they turn the ball over in that way, give Cleveland a short field, and that's the game-deciding play? What's the Dobbs crowd going to think? But then on the other hand, they're like, well, let's bring him in. They're down in the red zone. They couldn't punch it. They had him in. They had him in like on the first play, and then it was the little shovel thing or whatever, you know? So usually it's Dobbs, it's quarterback, inactive. They usually have one of the running backs inactive. It's almost overwhelmingly been Anthony McFarland. Jalen Samuels, I think, had an illness or whatever the 1 week, and he was out.
Yep.
There's usually a linebacker. You're looking at Jaron Elliott or Ola Adnei. Defensive linemen, we mentioned them, Carlos Davis and Isaiah Buggs. Antoine Brooks, one of these DBs. Usually it's Brooks. Kevin Rader, when they weren't short at tight end. Usually the other guy that's on there. You take Dobbs off of that. Or now you're removing 2 linemen, defensive linemen, or 2 linebackers, or 2 running backs. 2 running backs. You're going to roll with Connor. I hate to say it. Not the guy known to be the shining example of health. And capable of playing the bell cow role. Benny Snell, he's been banged up before. He's been ineffective at times. You have no other change of pace if you're sitting Samuels and McFarland, both, so you can put Dobbs in. I don't think they would go that route. Davis and Buggs, I mean, maybe, but don't forget these guys play special teams too.
Yeah.
Just because they only play 6 snaps on defense or barely get in. So one of those guys has to be there for special teams, your punt and kick units. Or the same thing with Jaron Elliott and Ola. Ola plays a lot of special teams too. I just don't see. Are you going to do it? Like call somebody's bluff? Are you going to have it sitting there, ace up your sleeve in case you get the itch and want to run it? I just don't see it. I don't, and this is nothing against Josh Dobbs. I don't hate Josh Dobbs. I was on his bandwagon for a little while. Then I saw, he was hesitant the way he got in a real game with the Raiders. We don't have a lot to work with. You know what I mean? We saw almost a full season of Rudolph. We saw what Rudolph did last week. We don't have a lot to work with outside of 9 plays to know if this is worth the risk of your reserve bodies, your special teams. Dobbs isn't playing special teams. I don't know it's worth the risk for
I'm with you.
Potential reward.
Look, as I said, I'm pretty clear about my opinion on this. No. Just no. I don't think. First of all, I hate how they get cute with this shit. Excuse me. Oops, I dropped one.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, I dropped one. I apologize to all the family-friendly folks. Woo. Okay, that's one.
Waggled the finger at you.
I feel bad.
Yeah.
Okay.
Don't make me have to edit more of those out, my friend.
I'm going to keep control now. Anyway, I hate how they try to get cute with this crapola. And they get a little success with it. It worked a little teeny bit. Now we're going to just use it like crazy. No. Just know this is an important game. This is not the time to be fooling around. Just know. No. And I like Josh Dobbs quite a bit. I might like him better than I like Mason Rudolph. Not necessarily because I think he's a better quarterback, just because he doesn't annoy me as much.
He hasn't had an opportunity to yet. And I know
Good
people
point.
like the idea of the mobile quarterback. We're seeing a lot about Deshaun Watson already. The professor wants to give the whole organization away, and maybe one of the bridges. To
Hey,
I think Watson's a fine player. You know what I mean?
I like Deshaun Watson quite a bit, but no. Again,
he just signed a huge contract. What are these teams doing?
Somebody put out there, would you trade, on Twitter, I saw this, would you trade TJ Watt straight up for Deshaun Watson? And the answer is no. No, I would not do that. No.
No, and a double no. So Oh,
it's not
Zach
anything
Adonia's
about-
on here talking about it too. Big Ben, he went from a Big Ben apologist to Deshaun Watson to Pittsburgh leader in 24 hours. It's like, yeah, it's just crazy. Like, there are going to be so many suitors. These guys that signed huge, I don't know there'll be suitors for Carson Wentz in that contract. That'd be like trying to trade Ben away. But the rest of this offense, do we think that the offense is going to revert and turn into a pumpkin that the way that they were? I think they're going to have a level of success, particularly. I think Sheldon Richards, we talked about football players being gladiators. Sheldon Richards is going to play. I don't have any doubts about it.
Right.
They have another gentleman who's the backup here. I'm going to find it too, Vernon. That's actually pretty capable too. Trying to find him. Where is he? Where is he here? Anyways, they're not going to be. I might be thinking of Adrian Claiborne here, who they have listed as a backup to Myles Garrett, but I guess it's between him, Porter Gustin, and Joe Jackson. I thought they had like another guy that was sitting here too. Perhaps he's on one of these lists. But anyways, the Steelers offense, I think they can move the ball. It's a matter of whether or not they focus or put any priority on the run game. I thought James Conner ran with purpose. I thought he did well. Benny Snell, I think, still needs to get some type of volume. When you give him 2-3 carries in whatever situation, it's not very good when he's looking at stacked boxes. But he's shown when you give him some sort of volume, he's capable. I think Mcfarland could be capable. I think Jalen Samuels is even surprised once or twice here and there. It's all a matter of, let's see. Even though Matt Filer could be back, I think Kevin Dotson's still the guy there. That's going to be his job to lose. Filer, is he in football shape? Is he ready to go? The chemistry that the offensive line may have had already for a little while. Pouncey being back's huge. If they're able to do what they were doing on the Browns, these are the same guys, minus Olivier Vernon now. Swap the safeties. In my opinion, really no different. I don't know. Is Sendeo that much better than Harrison? I know they're playing different positions, but who cares? I mean, it's just.
There you go. That's a viable point right there.
I mean, I'm really not trying to be rude here, and I'm not trying to, blow it out the back hole here. But this was, and we've been here. I had this conversation with Orlando Scandrick about the Dallas Cowboys, and we had this conversation about the Washington football team with Fred Smoot. And, Fred was a lot more in my type of mood. Orlando was just like, this team's the pits. No, there's no chance. And we saw, they went a little toe-to-toe. Steelers are getting what, 6 points? They're the favorite. Yeah. They are the favorite. How close of a scoring game are we looking at here?
I don't really think it's that close, to be honest with you, but I'm hedging my bet. Here's why I'm hedging my bet. I refuse to predict a blowout because then it won't be one. It's the jinx factor. Every time I say they're going to do this crazy stuff, then the game is too darn close. So I'm going to say it's going to be a really nail-biter close game, and it will be close. Why? Because I don't want it to be.
And all fairness, 47.5 over and under. They think there's going to be some points scored. Without Stefanski calling the plays, missing.
I just don't see it.
You're missing 2 wide receivers that, although they're not. It'd be like missing James Washington and maybe Deontay or something. I mean, Deontay's obviously better than Rashard Higgins, but I'll just try and put some type of, comparison out there. I mean, he's going to have Austin Hooper. I don't know how much he's going to be open. He got to them a little bit, but tight end has not been the bugaboo of the Steelers defense for a while now.
Not
it
this
really
year,
isn't.
For sure.
Not even last year. I mean, I think Terrell Edmonds has changed that. Laugh as you will. And I think
I wouldn't laugh at that.
No, he's going to get his 5th-year option too, because they could always rescind it.
So.
I think he has really grown this year, and he's gotten the full year next to Minka, who really makes that impact. And Steven Nelson and Mike Hilton are dogs, man. They're going after those guys too. You ain't getting the ball. I don't care if you got an extra 8 inches of height on me. It's just not going to happen. WAP, the old WAP. I've been playing a lot of the old Maddens from the 16 8-bit Sega
Boom.
Genesis. Yes,
Boom.
boom, pow,
Boom. Pow.
whap. I don't know if
Whap.
WAP was one of them. I'm making WAP mine.
I
Not
don't-
that song. Nope, forget it. It's going to be Boom or Pow. I'll just rip off John Madden.
Don't know what the song is.
You don't look it up later.
I don't want.
Just it's along the line of OnlyFans and things like that. You don't want to know.
I don't. No, I don't understand that either. So
Yeah, well, unfortunately, we're
one of our Twitter folks out there tried to explain it to me, and I just said, I can't even pronounce her Twitter handle. Sounds French. She's a very nice lady, somewhere in Pittsburgh, and she's a Steelers fan, so that's good. But I don't know what. So I can't pronounce her Twitter handle. Or otherwise, I'd give her a shout out, but I can't pronounce it, and I don't want to butcher it because then it'll just sound stupid.
we haven't done that at all today.
Oh no! Well.
Yeah, I'm with you on the score. It's hard to know what Steelers offense is going to show up. The only dreadful thing I think about here is that when you have Ben a week off, like usually after a bye week, these guys aren't very sharp at it, and if they go right back to where they were, just yikes, million levels of yikes. I just hope it's not like that. I don't think they can afford to be sneak attacked here by the Browns. I was looking at some different things here. I got to find it. I think it was in one of these preview guides, and wouldn't you know, I don't have it here, but like since 2014, the Steelers have given up the fewest sacks in the league compared to anybody since 2014, and that also holds true since 2019 last season and also this season. So the offensives,
That's pretty impressive.
The offenses they've been running since Bruce Arians left town have preserved Ben Roethlisberger, and hopefully whatever shot that he took before, they're done with this. Hopefully the preservation project was to get him here to the promised land and make a run at this. I'm hoping that's what we were seeing. They were coasting. Hey, when you're piling up 8, 9, 10, 11 wins, you're already in the dance. Maybe they just got too conservative. That's the one thing I'm going to hedge my bet on. Maybe. I don't know. But it's not like they were hitting Ben a whole lot. And on the flip side, the defense just continues to get it done with sacks too. They're going to need some splash plays. They didn't get anything last weekend, but I think that's the nature of who was playing too. You didn't have TJ and Cam out there.
Yeah, I agree.
So Baker, 4 or 5 sacks easily.
I think if we don't get at least 4 sacks to match what they did without those guys, then it's a travesty.
Yeah, I think that's fair enough to say that. And you know what else? Steelers offense, 30 points. They had 38 that first time. They had 22 last week with Mason.
All of this sort of depends on that rust factor. And I just can't go until I see what Ben does. I don't know.
I'm going to put him in the middle. I think somewhere in the middle there.
Yeah.
Did the Browns get 20?
I don't think they do.
I don't think so either. And are they still running Cody Parkey out there? Because you don't want him kicking around in Heinz Field in January. Fans are
they running him out there? Sure, they're running him out there, but only when they have no choice.
Yeah.
I think that they're going to try and take points where they need to, so that if in point of fact, right, they get stopped and it's still early on and the points are going to matter. Yeah, then I'll think they'll run him out there. If he misses a couple, forget it. He's not kicking the rest of the game.
Yeah, it's kind of where I'm at too, man. And I was trying to find the exact number. I found this when I was trying to find all of the Ben stats because I thought somebody out there put 15-0, and I'm not just going to rip on off someone else's number. Well, I'll just credit them anyways if they do. But I was like, yeah, was it 15? I'm like, they hadn't really played postseason. Browns in the postseason first time in 18 years, and then the last time they had actually made it, they were booted out by the Steelers at Heinz Field. And very similarly, I want to say right before Bill Belichick left, and then they moved the team to Baltimore to become the Ravens. Very, very similarly, they were ousted 1994 and then 2002, where they faced the Steelers 3 times in the same season. I want to say those 2 seasons they were swept 3-0 And that wouldn't have even been a possibility if Mason Rudolph would have closed the door on their playoff chances here. Yeah, both of the last 2 playoff appearances for the Cleveland Browns. And this is something, 1994, 2002. Let's see. They went into the divisional round and lost to the Steelers on January 7th, 1995. Bill Cowher versus Bill Belichick, the Battle of the Bills. And then they were 11-5 that season. They were 9-7 and got into the wild card in 2002. Played January 5th, 2003, 36-33. A lot closer of a game than you might anticipate. And believe it or not, they were down at various points in this game. They were down 14-0. They were down 33-21, and they found a way to come back behind the arm of Tommy Gunn Maddox and Antoine Randall L. Trick play to Jeremy Tooman. There's a name you don't hear every day.
There you go.
So, yeah, other than that, man, the Browns, they have been pretty much out of everything since the 80s when they were in the AFC Championship game a handful of times. Well, not a full handful. Was it like 3 times here? And they were in the playoffs 5 years in a row, and then the wheels fell off. And
they fell off.
They did.
Hopefully they're going to fall off again.
I don't have to be hopeful. I am confident. I just hope that it's not an overconfidence. I just think there's too much. There's not anything else to say. We know who's sitting out. We know what it looked like last week. We know what it should look like this week. It's just a matter of let's get to that point of what it should look like. Don't defeat yourself. Turning the ball over. Crappy 3-and-out offense. Penalties, etc. Just get down to business. So, Brian, happy trails. And I guess, we've probably been up against it. Thank you for everyone else thank you for everyone else who's hung in here with us. That means
there's a YouTube channel I watch called How Ridiculous. I enjoy it quite a bit. There's a bunch of guys in Australia. They throw stuff off towers. It makes me laugh.
Yeah,
I like it.
You're watching a Netflix series too.
The history of swear words, which I dropped one of earlier. Yes. But the point is, they have a special a club for the people who manage to last through their entire video. We have to post this in the comments. What's the name of the club that you get to be in if you make it all the way to this point in the video where you've seen this comment? Well, whichever one we like the best, that'll be the name of the club.
Yeah, that's not bad.
How about that?
3 people still hanging in there with us. They'll let it know. I guess you got to leave it on. You're going to leave it on YouTube. You could tweet it. You could tweet it.
You can't use the grown ass man club.
Tweet or text.
Maybe you could. I don't care. You want to use that one? I'm going to vote for it.
I'm pretty grown over here, my friend. Yeah, you could text us. What is it? I forgot the text number because I don't shill it as much as I used to. But we'll take it because 203-900-4SCU. That's a fan line. We're not answering it for any voice calls or anything like that. But you can shoot us some text if you don't do the Twitters or the the YouTubes. So, Brian. Who hasn't been in the playoffs for a while too? It hasn't felt like it, but it's been a while since the Steelers have been there. And let's get the job done here.
I don't want it to be over.
No, it's not over until after like February. That way we have plenty of content to go and stretch through.
I can't quit the playoffs, man. I can't quit them.
I can't quit you. Anyway,
you can quit me, y'all. Yeah, that's I
can't quit you. Okay. Thanks, my friend. And I'm looking forward to it. Depends how psyched up we are. Probably Sunday night. I mean, just to put this on and everything. I don't want to be up till 3 a.m. producing this show.
If we got this the next night too.
Well, we'll parlay. We'll just go into Monday and hope it isn't a case of the Mondays. Maybe, yeah.
Yeah, but they're saying this may not go until the 18th. I'd be okay with that.
And that'll be wild. It's going to be a wild ride to two wild and crazy nights.
Yes.
As Adam Sandler would somewhat say. So,
yes.
Thanks for joining us, everyone. Thanks for supporting us. And we encourage everyone out there. We usually show and tell you to like, comment, and subscribe. I just did. So otherwise, we encourage you to be safe, be good, and we'll catch you later.
We would like to thank you for listening and remind our listeners to follow us on social media and our website, www.steelcityunderground.com.